My friends, I want to start by asking you a simple yet profound question. How many times have you found yourself starting a new project, a new habit, or a new goal, only to let it fade into the background of forgotten promises? We've all been there, eager in the beginning, but fading out as time goes on. But what if I told you that consistency is the one key that unlocks every door of success in your life? Imagine how different your life would be if you were consistent in every action, every thought, and every step you took. Today, I will reveal to you the power of forcing yourself to be consistent, and why doing so is not just important, but absolutely necessary for achieving your highest potential. Stick with me through this speech, because I am going to show you how a simple, consistent action can change the course of your life forever. Consistency is not just a habit. It is a force of nature that has the potential to transform every aspect of your life. We often hear the saying, "Success is the sum of small efforts," repeated day in and day out. This is not just a motivational quote. It is a fundamental truth that governs every area of life, whether in your personal development, your career, your health, or your relationships. The world is built on patterns, on cycles, on the consistent repetition of actions. When you begin to embrace consistency, you align yourself with the natural flow of life, and this is when true progress begins. Imagine a river carving its way through solid rock. The power of the river is not in its strength or volume, but in its relentless, consistent flow. Over time, even the hardest stone is eroded, shaped, and molded by the steady pressure of the water. Consistency works in much the same way. Every small action you take, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, adds up. Every day that you show up, every task you complete, every step you take toward your goal, strengthens the foundation of the life you are building. The beauty of consistency is that it doesn't require huge, grand gestures. It only requires small, deliberate actions taken consistently over time. In today's world, we live in a society that craves instant gratification. We want results quickly. We want immediate feedback, and we often expect that if we work hard for a short period of time, we should see dramatic changes. But this is not how real, lasting success works. Real success is the product of continuous, consistent effort. It's the result of focusing on something every single day, even when the rewards are not immediately visible. When you consistently work toward a goal, regardless of external feedback, you are slowly but surely aligning your actions with your desires, and this alignment is where magic happens. One of the biggest misconceptions about consistency is that it requires perfection. People often believe that to be consistent, they must do everything flawlessly, or that if they slip up even once, they've failed. But consistency is not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when things aren't going perfectly. It's about continuing to move forward, even when you don't feel like it, even when the results aren't showing up the way you'd like them to. In fact, consistency often means embracing imperfection and using setbacks as fuel to move forward. The key is not to judge yourself harshly when you stumble or when things don't go according to plan. Instead, it's about recognizing that every action, no matter how small or imperfect, is a step in the right direction. The power of consistency lies not in flawless execution but in persistence and resilience. In the beginning, consistency can feel like an uphill battle. It's easy to feel disheartened when your efforts seem to yield little to no visible progress. This is the point where many people give up, believing that their efforts aren't working. However, this is where you must trust the process. Think about the way a seed grows. You don't see immediate results after you plant it. You water it, you tend to it, but nothing visible happens for a while. But with every passing day, the roots are growing deep into the soil, preparing for the eventual growth of the plant. The same principle applies to your efforts. Every small action you take is building the foundation for something larger. The fruits of your labor may not show up immediately, but rest assured, they are on their way. Trust in the consistency of your actions, and know that the results will come, even if you don't see them right away. There is also immense power in the habit of consistency. Once you start showing up every day, doing the things that matter most to your growth, it becomes easier and easier to continue. Your brain starts to form neural pathways that make your actions automatic, so you don't have to think about them as much. You are no longer struggling to muster the energy to take action. It becomes second nature. This is why consistency is so powerful. It eventually becomes a way of life, a part of who you are, and at that point, the results you seek are inevitable. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum is a force that propels you forward, even when you feel like you can't go any further. When you embrace consistency, you are not just working toward a goal, you are also shaping your character. The act of showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it, builds strength, discipline, and resilience. These are the traits of successful people. They are not successful because they are gifted or lucky. They are successful because they have cultivated the habit of consistency. By choosing to be consistent, you are choosing to develop the mental toughness required to overcome obstacles, the patience to wait for results, and the discipline to stay on track despite challenges. This character development is just as important as the tangible outcomes of your efforts. The person you become on the journey is just as valuable as the destination you are heading toward. Additionally, consistency helps you to build trust in yourself. When you are consistent, you prove to yourself that you can be relied upon. You begin to trust that you can do the things you set out to do, no matter how difficult or inconvenient they may seem. This self-trust becomes a powerful force in your life because once you believe in yourself, you are unstoppable. You don't wait for external validation, you create your own confidence by consistently taking action toward your goals. And this self-confidence is magnetic. It attracts opportunities, people, and resources that align with your goals. Finally, let's remember that consistency is not just about doing more. It's about doing the right things with intention. You can be busy all day long and still not achieve the success you desire if you are not consistently focused on the right actions. Consistency is about choosing wisely and making every action count. It's about doing the things that matter most and sticking with them. It's about prioritizing your time and energy on the things that move you closer to your goals and eliminating distractions that take you off course. So, as you move forward on your journey, remember that consistency is your greatest ally. It may not always be glamorous, and the rewards may not always be immediate, but over time, you will see the results. The key is to keep going even when the going gets tough. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep trusting in the process, and one day you will look back and realize that consistency, not some grand moment of inspiration, was the secret to your success. Mastery is not something that happens overnight. It is the result of consistent practice, learning, and refinement. Think about the great figures in history, the ones we admire for their expertise, skill, and success. Whether in art, music, science, or sports, they didn't achieve mastery through sporadic bursts of effort. They achieved it through consistent, focused practice, day after day, year after year. This is a universal truth that transcends every field and every endeavor. The road to mastery is paved with consistency, and without it, greatness is simply unattainable. The first step in understanding the connection between consistency and mastery is recognizing that mastery is a process, not an event. In our society, we are often conditioned to expect quick results. We want immediate success, rapid feedback, and instant validation. But real mastery doesn't work that way. It's not about achieving perfection instantly or hitting a milestone quickly. Mastery is about continuously improving, refining your craft, and growing in skill over time. It requires patience, dedication, and the willingness to show up every day, regardless of how you feel or how far away your goal seems. In fact, the more you practice and put in consistent effort, the closer you come to becoming a master in your field. In the beginning, when you're just starting out, the path toward mastery can feel long and uncertain. You might question whether it's even worth it. You'll face setbacks, you'll encounter challenges, and you'll feel like you're not getting anywhere. But this is the critical point where many people give up. They believe that if they're not seeing immediate results, then their efforts aren't worthwhile. However, the key to mastery lies precisely in this phase. It's in the moments when you don't feel like continuing, when the results aren't showing up as you expected, that consistency becomes your most powerful tool. Every time you push through, every time you continue, even when it feels difficult, you're building a stronger foundation for mastery. This is the true test of your commitment to your craft and to the goal you're striving to achieve. The process of mastery involves making small improvements consistently rather than seeking instant success. Think about how an athlete trains. They don't expect to win the race or game the first time they step onto the field. They know that it will take thousands of hours of practice to perfect their technique, build their endurance, and sharpen their skills. And yet, they don't focus solely on the outcome, they focus on the process. They focus on getting better every day. Whether it's refining a specific movement, working on their physical strength, or studying the competition, each step, no matter how small, is an essential part of the overall journey toward mastery. In the same way, you don't need to focus on perfection when you're working toward mastery. Instead, focus on consistency. The more consistently you engage with your craft, the more you improve. When you show up every day and practice, even if it's only for a short period, you are making progress. These small actions compound over time. It's like building a wall brick by brick. The more bricks you lay, the taller the wall becomes. And eventually, after many, many small steps, you will have built something remarkable. This is what happens when you commit to mastery through consistency. You won't see the results right away, but over time, they will manifest in ways you couldn't have imagined at the beginning. Consistency also breeds confidence. When you commit to your craft and practice every day, you build trust in your own abilities. You begin to believe that you can do it, because you've shown up time and time again. Each small success, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, reinforces your self-belief. Confidence is an essential part of mastery because it allows you to take risks, try new things, and push yourself to reach higher levels of skill. Without the foundation of consistency, your confidence would be weak and fragile. But with each consistent effort, your confidence grows stronger, making it easier to continue and improve. One of the reasons consistency leads to mastery is that it allows you to develop deep focus. Mastery requires more than just surface-level knowledge or skill. It requires a deep understanding of your field. The only way to truly gain that deep understanding is through consistent practice and study. When you consistently work at something, you start to uncover nuances that you would miss if you only dabbled occasionally. You learn the subtle intricacies of your craft, the details that separate an amateur from a true master. These nuances are only apparent when you dedicate time and energy over a long period, which is why consistency is so important in the journey to mastery. It gives you the time and space needed to truly understand your field and to hone your skills at the deepest level. Consistency also helps you stay motivated. Motivation can be fickle. Some days you feel energized and excited, while other days you may feel discouraged or tired. However, when you make consistency a part of your routine, it doesn't matter whether you feel motivated or not. The habit of showing up, even when you don't feel like it, ensures that you keep moving forward, regardless of your emotional state. Motivation comes and goes, but consistency is steady. It's the constant force that drives you toward your goals, even when your emotions or circumstances might try to hold you back. By relying on consistency, you create a system that works even when motivation isn't there. Another essential aspect of mastery through consistency is the ability to adapt and improve. As you practice consistently, you begin to notice patterns in your work, areas where you excel and areas where you struggle. With consistent effort, you can identify these weak spots and actively work on improving them. Over time, this process of reflection and adaptation leads to greater skill and understanding. Consistency allows you to refine your technique, correct your mistakes, and grow. It gives you the time needed to adjust and make changes, leading to a more refined and improved version of yourself and your craft. When you commit to consistency, you also develop resilience. There will inevitably be obstacles along the way, times when things go wrong, when you fail, when you feel like giving up. But by consistently showing up, you build mental and emotional resilience. You learn to handle setbacks and continue moving forward. Resilience is what allows you to keep going when the path gets rough. It's what allows you to take failure not as an endpoint, but as an opportunity to learn and improve. Consistency strengthens your ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep pushing toward mastery, even when things don't go as planned. In the end, mastery is about a mindset of continuous growth and improvement. It's about dedicating yourself to the process, not just the outcome. And the only way to fully dedicate yourself to this process is through consistency. Every day you show up, every time you practice, you're one step closer to becoming a master. It's the steady, unyielding commitment to your craft that will ultimately lead to your success. Without consistency, the path to mastery is impossible, because it's only through consistent effort that we can truly refine our skills, deepen our understanding, and grow. So, commit to consistency, and let it be the driving force that leads you to the pinnacle of mastery. Consistency is not just a physical practice, it is a spiritual act of faith. When you commit to consistent actions, no matter how small, you are making a declaration to the universe that you trust in the process, that you believe in your ability to succeed, and that you trust in the unseen forces that are guiding you. It is easy to think of success as something that happens only when we see the immediate results of our actions. But real success, true success, is a product of the faith we have in our actions even before we see the results. This is where consistency plays a critical role in manifesting our desires. Every day that we show up and continue working toward our goals, we are demonstrating our faith in what we cannot yet see, but know will come to fruition. Faith is the belief in something that we cannot yet perceive with our physical senses. It is the force that propels us to take action, even when the outcomes are not immediately visible. When we commit to consistency, we are exercising our faith in the belief that the universe, God, or whatever higher power you believe in, will reward our efforts, even if those rewards are not immediate. This is why consistency is such a powerful tool. It requires that we act as though what we want is already on its way, even when we cannot see it yet. The simple act of showing up every day, doing the work, and staying consistent, even in the face of uncertainty, is a powerful form of faith. To truly understand how consistency connects with faith, it's important to recognize that consistency isn't always easy. There will be days when you feel discouraged, when the results are not showing up the way you expected, and when doubt creeps into your mind. It is on these days, more than any other, that consistency becomes a true test of your faith. Faith isn't just about believing when things are going well. It's about believing even when everything around you seems to suggest that success is far off. When you commit to consistency, you are saying, I believe that even if I can't see the results right now, I am on the right path, and I trust that what I'm doing will lead me to success. This unwavering belief is what drives you to continue, even when your efforts seem invisible to the outside world. It's also important to understand that faith is not about passivity. It's about action. Faith without action is dead. You cannot simply sit back and hope for things to change. You have to show up, take action, and keep moving forward. But here's where consistency becomes so important. You must take action every day, whether or not you feel inspired, whether or not you see immediate results, and whether or not the world around you is cheering you on. Consistency is the bridge between your faith and your desired outcome. It is what translates your belief into tangible results. The consistency of your actions shows the universe that you are ready to receive what you are asking for, even if it takes time. In addition to demonstrating faith, consistency also strengthens your belief in yourself. Every time you show up and continue doing the work, you build trust in your own abilities. Self-doubt can often creep in, especially when progress seems slow, and we wonder if we are good enough or if we are making the right choices. But by consistently showing up, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of achieving our goals. Each step, no matter how small, builds our confidence, and with that confidence comes a deeper sense of belief in our own potential. This self-belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you believe in yourself, the more you show up, and the more you show up, the more you grow and accomplish. Faith in your ability to succeed becomes reinforced with each consistent effort you make. Another key aspect of faith is trust. When you are consistent, you are placing your trust in the process, trusting that every action, no matter how insignificant it seems in the moment, is bringing you closer to your goal. You may not always see the immediate outcome of your actions, but you must trust that every step is leading you toward what you desire. Trusting the process means believing that the effort you put in today will bear fruit tomorrow, even if that fruit is not yet visible. In fact, it is in the very absence of immediate results that the faith in the process is most strongly tested. It's easy to believe in something when it's showing instant results, but true faith comes from showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that the results will come in time. Consistency also requires that you surrender control over the timing of your success. This is one of the hardest aspects of faith, especially in a world that is so focused on instant gratification. We live in an age where we expect fast results, and when we don't see immediate progress, it can be easy to feel disheartened. But true faith involves surrendering the timing of the results to the universe. You must trust that everything will happen when it is meant to happen, not necessarily when you think it should. This doesn't mean that you stop working or that you stop showing up. It means that you stop stressing over the timing of when things will happen. You continue to work, you continue to show up, and you trust that the right opportunities, people, and circumstances will come into your life at the right time. Faith is trusting that what you desire is already on its way, even when you can't see it yet. It's also worth noting that the process of being consistent is itself a lesson in patience. Patience is not just about waiting for something to happen. It's about trusting that it will, while still taking consistent action. When you are patient, you don't waste time worrying about when or how something will come to fruition. Instead, you focus on doing what you can today, and you trust that the universe will deliver the outcome in its own time. Patience and consistency go hand in hand. Without consistency, you wouldn't have the steady, incremental progress that allows you to trust the process. And without patience, you wouldn't be able to wait for the results of your consistent efforts to come to fruition. Both qualities are essential to achieving your goals. The act of showing up consistently, day after day, is a reflection of the deep faith you have in your goals. Even when it seems like nothing is happening, you continue because you believe in the bigger picture. You trust that your actions are contributing to something much greater than what you can see right now. The beauty of faith through consistency is that you are aligned with the natural flow of the universe. You are not forcing or pushing against the natural rhythm of life. You are trusting that every effort you make will be met with the necessary circumstances that will bring your desires to fruition. Faith and consistency, when practiced together, create an unshakable foundation upon which you can build your dreams. Every small step you take in faith brings you one step closer to the reality you are creating. Consistency is often met with resistance. Resistance is not a physical obstacle that we can see or touch, but it is a powerful force that often manifests in the form of fear, doubt, procrastination, and discomfort. Resistance is the internal voice that tells us we are not good enough, that we will never succeed, or that it's easier to give up than to continue. It whispers that we should take a break, delay our efforts, or even abandon our goals altogether. Resistance shows up when we are about to make significant progress, and it is often the greatest challenge we face on the journey to success. However, what most people don't realize is that resistance is not something to fear. It is a signal that you are on the right path. When you feel resistance, it is often an indication that you are moving closer to your goals, and that you are pushing beyond your comfort zone. Understanding resistance is key to overcoming it. Resistance exists because it is a natural part of the human experience. Our brains are wired for comfort and safety. When we embark on a new path, whether it's pursuing a dream, starting a new project, or changing a habit, we are stepping out of the familiar and into the unknown. This causes a sense of discomfort, which the brain interprets as danger. In an effort to protect us, it sends signals of resistance, urging us to stop, retreat, or avoid the challenge. This is where most people fall short. They give in to the resistance and stop moving forward. The key to overcoming resistance is not to fight it directly, but to recognize it for what it is, a natural part of growth and progress. Instead of succumbing to the urge to quit, embrace the discomfort. Understand that it is a sign that you are challenging yourself and growing. By continuing despite the resistance, you are showing yourself and the universe that you are committed to your goals, regardless of the obstacles that may arise. One of the most insidious forms of resistance is procrastination. It's easy to put things off when we feel overwhelmed or uncertain. Procrastination is often the result of fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or fear of the unknown. It creates a cycle where we delay taking action, which only increases our anxiety and self-doubt. This resistance to action can be paralyzing. The longer we wait to start, the more difficult it becomes to take that first step. But what most people fail to realize is that procrastination only makes the problem worse. The longer we avoid something, the bigger the task seems, and the more overwhelming it becomes. The key to breaking this cycle is to force yourself to take action, no matter how small. The first step is often the hardest, but once you begin, the momentum builds. You realize that the task is not as difficult as you thought, and the resistance begins to lose its power over you. By consistently taking small actions, even when you don't feel like it, you can break through the barrier of procrastination and gain the confidence to keep moving forward. Another form of resistance comes in the form of self-doubt. We all experience moments of doubt, times when we question our abilities, our decisions, or the path we're on. Self-doubt is one of the most powerful forces that can derail our progress because it directly undermines our confidence and belief in ourselves. When self-doubt creeps in, it can feel like a heavy weight that drags us down, making it hard to continue. But what if we shifted our perspective on self-doubt? What if we saw it as a natural part of the process rather than something to fear? Self-doubt is a signal that we are challenging ourselves, pushing beyond our comfort zone and stepping into the unknown. It means that we are growing and evolving, and that is a good thing. The key is not to let self-doubt control your actions, but to continue moving forward despite it. Every time you take a step forward, even while feeling unsure, you are proving to yourself that you are capable of handling challenges. Over time, this builds resilience and confidence. The more you face resistance and continue anyway, the more you strengthen your ability to overcome self-doubt and trust in your own abilities. Resistance can also take the form of external obstacles, things outside of our control that seem to block our progress. These could be financial setbacks, time constraints, criticism from others, or unforeseen circumstances that make it difficult to move forward. These external obstacles can feel discouraging, and it's easy to become frustrated or disheartened when they arise. However, it's important to remember that obstacles are a natural part of life. They are not signs that you are on the wrong path, but rather tests of your determination and commitment. When you encounter an external obstacle, it's an opportunity to demonstrate resilience. Instead of seeing the obstacle as something that will prevent your success, see it as a challenge to be overcome. Resistance, in this form, is often an invitation to become more resourceful, to think creatively, and to find new ways to approach your goals. External resistance can teach you valuable lessons about perseverance, problem-solving, and adaptability. The key is to keep moving forward. No matter how difficult the circumstances may seem, often, the greatest breakthroughs come when we face and overcome the most difficult obstacles. One of the most important aspects of overcoming resistance is learning to push through discomfort. Discomfort is a natural part of growth. Whenever we step outside of our comfort zone, we are met with resistance in the form of anxiety, fear, or self-doubt. This discomfort is a sign that we are expanding, stretching our limits, and moving towards something greater. It's important to remember that growth never happens within the confines of comfort. If you want to grow, you must be willing to experience discomfort. The more you embrace discomfort and continue to move forward despite it, the more you strengthen your ability to handle challenges in the future. Resisting the urge to quit when things get tough is one of the most powerful ways to build strength and resilience. You learn that discomfort is temporary and that the rewards of pushing through it far outweigh the pain. Each time you continue despite discomfort, you expand your capacity to handle even greater challenges, making it easier to face resistance in the future. In the end, resistance is not something to avoid or fear, it is something to embrace. It is a sign that you are on the right path, that you are pushing your limits, and that you are growing. Every time you face resistance and continue moving forward, you prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming obstacles, both internal and external. You strengthen your faith, your confidence, and your determination. Resistance will always be a part of the journey, but with consistency and persistence, you can overcome it and continue moving toward your goals. The key is not to avoid resistance, but to face it head on, knowing that it is an essential part of the process of becoming the person you are meant to be. Consistency is not about doing everything at once or trying to be perfect all the time. It is about taking small, deliberate actions every day toward your goals. These small actions, when compounded over time, lead to significant progress and ultimately bring you closer to achieving what you desire. Many people make the mistake of thinking that success requires massive, immediate efforts. But the reality is, success is often the result of consistent, incremental steps that accumulate and create momentum. Small, consistent actions lead to big results because they are sustainable, and they allow you to build the skills, knowledge, and habits necessary for long-term success. In the beginning, small actions may seem insignificant. It can feel like you're not making much progress because the results aren't immediate. But every action, no matter how small, is laying the groundwork for something much larger. Think of it like planting a seed. Initially, the seed is tiny and fragile, and you might not see much growth, but with consistent care and attention, that small seed eventually grows into something much bigger. Whether it's a tree, a plant, or a crop, the same is true of your efforts. Every time you take action toward your goal, you are planting the seeds of your future success. In the short term, the results might not be visible, but over time, those small actions will accumulate and lead to the growth and progress you desire. Small actions also have the benefit of being manageable. When you try to tackle everything at once, it can feel overwhelming, and you might burn out before you've even made significant progress. But when you break down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps, you make them more achievable. Instead of looking at the entire mountain, you focus on taking one step at a time. This makes the process feel less daunting and allows you to maintain your focus and energy. Each small action you take is a small victory, and these small victories add up to something much greater. Over time, the consistency of these actions will carry you to the top of the mountain. There is also something inherently motivating about small, consistent actions. When you make consistent progress, even if it's just a little bit each day, you start to build momentum. Momentum is a powerful force because it makes things easier as you go. The more you take action, the more you get used to taking action, and the more energy you have to continue moving forward. It's like pushing a boulder uphill. The first few pushes are the hardest, but once you get it moving, it becomes easier and easier to keep it going. Small, consistent actions are the key to building that momentum. As you continue to take action, you start to feel a sense of accomplishment, which reinforces your desire to keep going. This sense of progress, even in small increments, keeps you motivated and on track toward your larger goal. Another advantage of focusing on small, consistent actions is that they allow you to make adjustments along the way. When you take small steps, you have the flexibility to correct if something isn't working. If you make a mistake or encounter an obstacle, It's easier to adjust your approach without losing momentum. On the other hand, when you try to take massive leaps toward your goal, it's harder to make adjustments. If you encounter a setback or failure, it can feel like a major derailment, and it might be difficult to get back on track. Small actions, however, allow for a more flexible, adaptable approach to success. They give you room to learn, grow, and refine your strategies without feeling like you've wasted time or energy. Consistency also builds the kind of habits that are necessary for long-term success. Habits are powerful because they become automatic over time. When something becomes a habit, you no longer have to put as much effort into doing it. It becomes part of your daily routine, and the resistance you once felt fades away. Think about brushing your teeth or getting dressed in the morning. It's something you do without even thinking about it. This automaticity is the result of consistent repetition over time. By focusing on small, consistent actions, you can gradually build habits that support your goals. Whether it's setting aside time each day to work on a project, practicing a skill, or focusing on personal growth, these small actions eventually become part of who you are. Once a habit is established, it becomes much easier to stay consistent, and the results start to compound. Moreover, small actions give you the opportunity to build mastery over time. Mastery is not something that happens instantly. It is the result of consistent practice and refinement. Every time you take a small action toward your goal, you are honing your skills, deepening your understanding, and building your expertise. Mastery is not about doing something perfectly right away. It's about improving bit by bit, day by day. The more consistently you practice, the more you improve, and the more confident you become in your abilities. Eventually, these small steps lead to a level of mastery that allows you to achieve your goals with ease and precision. The power of small actions is also magnified by their ability to create lasting change. Often, when we think about success, we focus on the end result, the big achievement, the final destination. But success is not just about the destination, it's about the journey. Small, consistent actions change you along the way. They shape your character, your mindset, and your approach to life. As you consistently take action, you become a person who is focused, disciplined, and determined. These qualities are not just useful for achieving one goal, they carry over into all areas of your life. When you commit to small, consistent actions, you are not just working toward a specific outcome. You are transforming yourself into the kind of person who is capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. There is also the power of accountability. When you make a commitment to take small, consistent actions, you are more likely to stay on track. The key to this accountability is being honest with yourself. When you set realistic, actionable goals, it's easier to stay committed because you can measure your progress. Small actions give you a clear sense of direction, and because they are tangible, they are easier to track. As you check off each small task, you gain confidence and motivation. You also develop a sense of pride in your consistency, and this pride fuels your desire to keep going. The more you see how far you've come, the more determined you become to keep taking those small steps until you reach your goal. Finally, the beauty of small, consistent actions is that they allow you to enjoy the process rather than just focusing on the end result. When you take small steps toward your goal, you can savor each moment of progress. You don't have to wait until the very end to feel a sense of accomplishment. Every small action is a victory in itself, and that victory gives you the satisfaction and joy of knowing that you are moving forward. This enjoyment of the process is what makes the journey to success sustainable. It allows you to stay engaged, passionate, and motivated because you are constantly seeing progress, no matter how small. The small victories along the way build momentum, making the larger goal feel more achievable and rewarding. The key to achieving big results is to focus on small, consistent actions. These actions may seem insignificant at first, but over time they lead to growth, mastery, and ultimately, success. Small actions are manageable, motivating, and flexible, allowing you to build momentum and adjust as needed. They give you the opportunity to develop habits, build skills, and enjoy the journey. Success is not about massive leaps forward, it is about consistent, incremental progress that compounds over time. By committing to small actions, you lay the foundation for achieving your goals and transforming your life. When you commit to consistency, you enter a process that, over time, will lead to immense rewards. These rewards are not just about achieving external success or receiving recognition from others. While those things may come as a result of your hard work and commitment, the true rewards of consistency are often found in the transformation that happens within you. The changes that occur are not always immediately visible, but they are profound. Consistency brings clarity, strength, and a sense of accomplishment, but most importantly, it builds a foundation for lasting success that is grounded in resilience and discipline. One of the first rewards that consistency brings is clarity. When you make something a daily practice, whether it's working toward a goal, developing a skill, or cultivating a positive habit, you start to gain a deeper understanding of your purpose and direction. At the beginning, things may feel foggy or unclear. You may not know exactly how to achieve your goal or whether you'll be able to maintain the consistency required. However, over time, as you continue to take consistent action, things begin to come into focus. The more you work toward your goal, the more the steps needed to get there become apparent. You begin to see the patterns, the connections, and the resources that you need. Consistency allows you to clarify your vision and see the path forward with greater certainty. It's like walking down a foggy path. You may not be able to see the end clearly at first, but as you take each step, the fog begins to lift, and your direction becomes clearer. The clarity that comes from consistency isn't just about your specific goals, it also extends to your understanding of yourself. As you commit to daily actions, you begin to understand your own strengths and weaknesses. You discover your work habits, your capacity for focus, and the areas in which you need to improve. You start to identify the patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. This self-awareness is one of the most powerful rewards of consistency because it enables you to adjust your approach, refine your strategies, and overcome obstacles more effectively. When you know yourself well, you are better equipped to make decisions that align with your goals, and you're more able to navigate challenges with confidence. Strength is another powerful reward that consistency brings. At the beginning of any journey, it's easy to feel weak or uncertain, especially when progress seems slow or setbacks occur. But consistency builds mental and emotional strength over time. Each time you show up and take action, even when you don't feel like it, you are strengthening your resilience. The act of pushing through resistance and continuing your efforts, regardless of how difficult or discouraging it may feel, builds a muscle of perseverance. This perseverance allows you to handle challenges with more ease and confidence. You learn that obstacles are simply part of the process, and you become less likely to give up in the face of adversity. Every time you face resistance and keep going, you are building inner strength that will serve you throughout your entire journey. The more you persist, the stronger you become, and this strength is something that will support you in all areas of your life, not just in the pursuit of your current goals. A sense of accomplishment is another major reward that consistency brings. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the enormity of a goal or project, especially when the outcome seems far off. But when you commit to consistent action, you begin to experience small wins along the way. These small wins build up over time, and before you know it, you've made significant progress. This sense of progress is one of the greatest motivators for continuing on your path. Every time you complete a task or reach a milestone, no matter how small, you experience a sense of accomplishment. This feeling fuels your drive to keep moving forward. In the beginning, it may feel like you're barely making any headway, but as you continue to take consistent action, you'll look back and realize how much you've accomplished. The power of consistency lies in the ability to turn what seems like insignificant steps into a series of victories that ultimately lead to success. One of the most valuable rewards of consistency is the foundation it creates for lasting success. Success that comes from sporadic bursts of effort or quick, Unsteady progress is often fleeting. It can be difficult to maintain, and the results may not last long. But when success is built on a foundation of consistent effort, it is more likely to endure. Consistency creates a solid base from which you can build, and this foundation is what allows you to achieve lasting success. When you develop the habit of showing up every day, doing the work, and staying committed to your goal, you are cultivating a level of discipline and focus that will carry you through the inevitable ups and downs of life. This steady, reliable progress leads to sustainable success because it is not dependent on short-term motivation or bursts of energy. It is built on the long-term commitment to continuous improvement. Along with the long-term rewards of success, consistency also brings the reward of personal transformation. As you commit to taking consistent action, you begin to develop qualities such as discipline, patience, and resilience. These qualities are not just useful for achieving a single goal. They are life skills that will benefit you in every area of your life. By committing to consistency, you are becoming a better, more capable person. You are developing the mental toughness needed to face challenges with grace and perseverance. You are learning how to manage your time and energy effectively, how to prioritize what matters, and how to stay focused even when distractions arise. The transformation that happens within you is often more significant than the external achievements, because it changes the way you approach life itself. You become someone who is committed, disciplined, and focused, qualities that will continue to serve you long after you've reached your current goal. Another significant reward of consistency is the sense of control it gives you over your own life. In a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, consistency offers a way to regain a sense of agency. When you take consistent action, you are in control of your progress. You are deciding what you will do each day to move closer to your goal, and you are creating the conditions for success. This sense of control is empowering because it allows you to shape your own destiny. Rather than waiting for things to happen to you, you are actively creating the future you desire. By staying consistent, you become the architect of your own life, making decisions that align with your vision and taking action that brings you closer to your desired outcomes. The rewards of consistency are not always immediately visible, and they may not always be as flashy or obvious as a major breakthrough or external recognition. However, these rewards are often deeper and more lasting. They come in the form of inner strength, a sense of accomplishment, personal growth, and the creation of a solid foundation for lasting success. As you commit to consistent action, you will begin to see these rewards unfold in your life. And while the journey may be long and at times challenging, the rewards of consistency are worth every step you take along the way. So, I leave you with this: force yourself to be consistent. It is the one habit, the one action that will change everything in your life. Whether you are working on a personal goal, a business, or your spiritual growth, remember that every day you show up is a day closer to your ultimate success. Embrace consistency, make it your ally, and you will see miracles unfold in your life.